Taurus, it's Marley from the Energy Boutique bringing you your September energy forecast. So coming into September, we are definitely feeling good, I would say. You have a lot of earth energy presenting for you this month. And because we're in Virgo season, an earth energy sister sign to you, it does kind of feel like you're finally feeling at peace, like you're finally feeling content, like you're finally feeling the stability that you have been craving for a very, very long time. I feel like coming into September, you are recognizing where it is that, you know what, you've definitely done the work. You've definitely made the changes and transformations in your life to actually feel like you are in alignment. I feel like there's been a lot of happiness, a lot of joy, like you've gotten in touch with yourself, with what it is that actually makes you happy, with new passions, with new desires. And I feel like this is a good opportunity for you to kind of make peace with all of the upheaval that you've been experiencing over the past year or so, and just recognize now that it was absolutely all worth it. So on the 5th, we actually have Venus, your ruler, moving into Virgo energy. We're already in Virgo season. This works well for you for a couple of reasons. First of all, Venus being your ruler in an earth energy, a sister earth energy to you, is a beautiful energy for you to kind of get a little bit more focused on getting back into the swing of things, where new routines are concerned, building healthy habits are concerned, and really just getting a little bit more logical and practical with what it is that makes you happy. I know that you've had a little bit more of a, I'm going to say, spontaneous awakening to being a little bit more, I'm going to say, open to leaving your comfort zone. And especially when it comes to connecting with the right kinds of people, I really feel like Venus being in Virgo is not only going to help you get logical and practical with the routines that you have to get back to and putting, you know, a new structure, a new reorganization into your day, but it also shows you, you know what it is that is worth your time, your energy, your effort, and who is worth your time, your energy, your effort. Venus being in Virgo in this 5th house really does kind of have you focused on the little things that make you happy, that bring you joy, that bring you a sense of peace, that bring you a lot of contentment. And I know that for many of my Taurus friends, the heart chakra has been, I'm going to say, in a state of being cracked open in some painful ways over the last year. And with this reorganization and with this restructuring, it does feel like you're putting the pieces back together in a way that actually supports you feeling like yourself again, which is a beautiful thing to see. Now, on September 9th, we do have Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information and communication, going retrograde in Libran energy. So for all of us, it means that we do have to slow down, that we do have to let our intuition lead a little bit more than our logical, practical intellect, that we are going to have to take a good look back, re-examine where it is, especially in some relationships that things got out of whack, where it is that we will have old topics and themes, revisit the present here and now in order for us to reevaluate what it is that we want to do with that. And for the most part, a retrograde always brings topics and themes from the past back to the present moment for us to kind of restructure them, reorganize them, reprocess them. And Mercury going retrograde in Libra is actually setting up in your 6th house of your day-to-day tasks, your chores, your routines, your roles, your responsibilities, your mental health, and where it is that you are being of service to other people. What I would say is that there's likely some kind of situation or scenario where work or tasks or chores or roles and responsibilities that you thought you were done with are coming back full stop, front and center. Now, here's the thing. This Libran energy is rules over relationships, rules over extremes, and where it is that we have to find peace and harmony and balance where there was once extremes. But the Libran energy also rules over legalities like contracts, documents, the fine details of paperwork. And this could actually bring forth contracts of, new roles, new responsibilities in work. This Libran energy does offer an opportunity to increase your income through new contracts, new negotiations, new arrangements. But even more than that, it's going to offer you an opportunity to find a compromise between work and between play. Now, this is also a good reminder for my Taurus friends who tend to jump into things all or nothing, that there is a very strong need for you to recognize where it is that you need to make time to take care of yourself. This is a time to balance the scales between being of service to other people and being of service to yourself. You need to really understand that nurturing yourself and making sure that you are happy and whole, mind, body, and soul, is the best thing for not only you, but for everyone else around you as well. So Mercury going retrograde in Libra is likely going to disrupt your daily life just a bit. It is going to have, again, past elements come back for reconsideration, reevaluation, and reintegration. And this is going to probably create a little bit of chaos, a little bit of frustration in your life. But keep in mind that Mercury will be retrograding back into Virgo at the end of the month. So whatever pops off from Mercury going retrograde in Libra will be fixed, will be solved, will be corrected by the end of the month. On September 10th, we have the full moon taking place in Pisces. This is going to be illuminating your 11th house. So the full moon in Pisces is going to be a highly emotional time. We are having to reflect back to February and March of this year. Something that began around that time is likely coming full circle for an ending and for a completion. And this being in your 11th house, this is about your dreams, your hopes, your wishes. This is all about connections as well and networking, community. And the full moon in Pisces is also going to illuminate for us where we've been successful or unsuccessful in bringing our dreams to life, where it is that there's been a lot of healing since February and March of this year, something again coming to a close, a healing transformation of sorts, and really illuminating for us what it is that we want to do from here. Because this 11th house is very social, I would say that there's a lot of reflection to be done on where it is that you've been a little bit more open to going out to different places and allowing new people to enter your realm. My Taurus friends usually are very closed off, trying to stick to, the same old. And I'm very proud to say that most of my Tauran friends have definitely pushed their boundaries, their comfort zone to brand new limits. Letting people in and letting themselves out. So on September 22nd, this is when Libra season begins. This is when the sun moves out of Virgo season and into Libra season. It also triggers our fall equinox. So for all of us, this is when the universe kind of hits the reset button for all of us, gives us all an even playing field once again. But Libra season is light and airy, has a huge focus on our relationships, the relationship with ourselves, first and foremost, the relationship with other people, and what it is that we learn about ourselves through the relationships that we have with other people. Keep in mind, Libra season also highlights the legal aspect, contracts, and where Mercury is retrograde. It's never a good time to be signing new contracts if you are in a situation where you do have to commit and sign your name on a dotted line somewheres. Please be very careful to read those documents over a couple of times, even to get a different set of eyes on those documents. We do have a tendency to see that things need to be reviewed once Mercury actually goes direct again, just from errors or, miscommunications, misunderstandings. But Libra season overall is about us balancing the scales, about us finding peace between our heart and our head, between our inner realm, our outer realm, and of course, finding peace and harmony in our relationships. Because Libra season is ruled over by Venus, your ruler as well. This is usually a good time for you. It is a lot of pressure on the mental plane because there are a lot of things changing in your physical realm. And because this is the sixth house of your day-to-day tasks and chores and roles and responsibilities, your mental health area and where it is that you are showing up to be of service to other people, it is another huge spotlight, a huge life lesson on where it is that you're going to have to work very hard to compromise and strike a balance between work and your home life, between taking care of yourself, taking care of other people, between your personal relationship with yourself and the relationships with other people in your life as well. And the sixth house is really wanting us to kind of build healthy routines and stabilize routines for us so that we're not kind of chaotic and running all over the place and wasting our time and energy trying to decide certain things. Indecision is huge in Libra season. It's not one of the most favorable qualities or characteristics that gets triggered and activated within us with Libra season. But having Libra season shine the bright light on the sixth house, you're definitely returning to some kind of role, responsibility, taking new roles and responsibilities on where it is that you're being of service to other people. And the main lesson here is that you have to make time to take care of yourself, be of service to yourself, make sure that your mind, your body, and your soul are taken care of. On September 23rd, we have Mercury moving back into Virgo energy. Again, Virgo energy, an earth sign, a sister sign to you, works very well, works very much in your favor. But Mercury going retrograde in Virgo is taking you back into the fifth house of your heart chakra. What it is that makes you happy, what it is that brings you joy, what it is that brings you pleasure. Your heart, your soul being in alignment with a new mission, with a new purpose, and kind of ground you out to get kind of down to the nitty gritty details, because that's what Virgo likes to do. Analyze what feels broken, what feels uncomfortable, so that we can provide a solution and actually fix it. But here's the thing. Because you have so much energy built up in the sixth house and then in the fifth house, it kind of suggests that you're jumping into something, new roles, new responsibilities, new jobs, new situations that you think is going to work out for you. You think that you're going to enjoy. And then it feels like you get in these particular situations and then suddenly you're not so happy. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't strike a happy chord with you. It's not bringing a whole lot of peace and joy and pleasure to your life. You're realizing that you were kind of content before you decided to jump into said situation. And this can kind of bring up a lot of insecurities, a lot of doubts on whether or not you made the right decision. Keep in mind, Mercury being retrograde has us reworking things, rebuilding, readjusting, recalibrating, and revising what it is that we actually want to do. And because Mercury going retrograde in Virgo takes you back into the fifth house of your heart space, it is going to be, I'm going to say, heavily weighted in your heart space and in your head space, because Mercury, again, rules over the headspace. In its place of power in Virgo is mind over matter, but really seeing what it is that you threw yourself into, how your environment has changed, how your routine has changed, and what that is doing for your mental health. You may have to revise your plans. You may have to redo an introductory on how it is that you're, jumping into these tasks and chores. Like I said earlier, Mercury going retrograde in Virgo will help us fix whatever problems arise while Mercury is retrograde in Libra. But it just feels that you're going to try to get something off the ground, try to jump into something new. It really has a deep impact on your day-to-day life and on your mental health. And then you have to come back into the heart space to really consider whether or not this is what you want to do, whether it feels like it's the right thing for you to do. And you know what? It's okay to change your mind. So on the 25th is when we have the new moon taking place in Libra. And again, this brings us back to the sixth house. So it's almost like you recognize what isn't working for you, what your heart isn't in alignment with, what you need to kind of readjust, rework, rebuild, redo. And then the new moon in Libra provides you an opportunity to kind of set some new intentions on what you have to work on in your daily life to make sure that the scales are balanced between work and your home life, between taking care of yourself, taking care of other people. What do you want for yourself for the next 2 years when it comes to those topics and themes? What kind of healthy habits, healthy routines can you be implementing in order to support balance in your life? What kind of peace do you need to make with the circumstances that you're currently in? All of these topics and themes are going to be highlighted under the new moon in Libra. And where this is the 6th house, I would say that this is probably going to help lighten the vibe and help you kind of meet a happy point in the middle between the extremes that you will be feeling from the beginning of the month till the end of the month. Again, not being so happy with some of the choices that you've made and some of the changes that have taken place in your life thus far. Then on the 29th, we have Venus, your ruler, again on the move, this time moving into Libra, her place of power. So when Venus is in your sign in Taurus, she's in her place of power. When she's in Libra energy, she's in her place of power. When Venus is in your sign, it's more about what you want, what you need, what you desire, what you need to build, what you need to value, what you need to kind of focus on as far as your long-term goals. When Venus is in Libra, it's more focused on how to take care of ourselves while we're taking care of other people. It's very much that Libran energy focused on relationships, focused on meeting in the middle, not living in extremes so much. And again, in the 6th house, there's a huge emphasis for you this month on the 6th house where your day-to-day tasks and routines are concerned. We're taking care of yourself, your mind, your body, your soul is concerned. Balancing the scales within between your heart and your head. Really finding a sweet spot of compromise so that you're not feeling like you're living in extremes all the time, and that, the mental anxiety, the mental process of having to take on new challenges, new tasks, new roles, where that's not going to put you in a funk again. You work so hard to get out of the funk. I'd hate to see you kind of backtrack and move back into that. Venus being in Libra kind of shows us where it is that we need to nurture ourselves a little bit more, where it is that we have to, find happiness and joy and pleasure in the smaller things in life. It's definitely a time for us to recognize the beauty in our circumstances, again, trying to make peace with that, trying to create harmony among the different roles, the different tasks that we have signed up to do. And I think this is going to be an inner realm challenge for you this month, just because I feel like you might have overcommitted yourself, and the change, the adjustment period is never fun anyways, and really going to throw you for a loop and then make you question whether you made the right decision. And then you're going to make every effort you can to try and make the best of the situation as you come up with some solutions on how to actually fix it. So what I will say to you for the month as you move through the highs and lows of it all is that you really have to remember how happy you now are after having to go through the highs and lows, the struggles and the challenges that you've been faced with over the last year. And now that you've found yourself in a happy, sweet spot, I feel like it's time to kind of remember and remind yourself to continue to cultivate the relationships, the connections that you've really found to be of worth, of value, and of true support as you've gone through this little bumpy time. The reason why I bring this up is because I feel like you are taking on more work or more tasks or chores or roles or responsibilities that I feel like will take you away from some of the relationships that I feel are super important and super valuable for you. And again, another reason why I think it's going to be a major life lesson for you this month on where it is that you have to compromise between work and home, between taking care of other people, taking care of yourself, because that 5th house really illuminated to you what makes you happy and what makes you feel peaceful and content. And I feel like some of the things that you've taken on and will throw yourself into this month will kind of take you away from that peaceful feeling. And you just kind of have to remind yourself of why you're doing it. And sometimes, like I said, it's okay to change your mind, especially mid-month. I feel like just after the full moon in Pisces, but right before we jump into Libra season, you're going to have a change of heart. Something is going to shake you up, or something is going to disrupt your plans or throw a wrench into your plans to really make you step back and ask yourself, you know what, is this the kind of change that I really want, need, desire in my life? Is this helping me get, closer to the peace that I'm desiring, the contentment that I've been feeling, or is it taking me further away from that? Because I feel like there's a lot of, again, we're in retrograde season. All the heavy hitting planets are retrograde. You have Uranus retrograde in your sign, the true node in your sign, which is forcing you inward to shake you up to see what is actually the most valuable and meaningful experiences for you. And, where you've been open to change, but where it is that you still fear certain change, and reevaluating whether or not you have overcommitted yourself and whether or not you need to readjust your plan or readjust your hours or readjust your perspective or your attitude. There's a lot of readjusting going on. And I feel like you're coming to a ending point, a closure point, an ending of cycle, especially with the home and the family environment. You're letting something go. You're surrendering to a chapter that is coming to a close. And I feel like this has the ability to, I'm going to say, put you in a funk for a short amount of time, but I also put you in a beautiful opportunity to align with your higher self, to be a little bit more introverted, a little bit more reflective on all that you've gone through, on how far you've come, on what you've grown through, on what it is that you've been able to change in your life. There has been a lot of change, especially because of the true node being in your sign. And I feel like you're just going to make peace with the struggle, with the challenges, with the obstacles in which you've been faced, and, in a bittersweet way, kind of give permission to let certain topics and themes go, especially where I'm going to say loss or change or adjustment in the home and family dynamics are concerned. Again, there's you've had a huge lesson in relationships and valuing relationships and working on relationships. And I feel like whatever kind of commitments that you've taken on this month, where work and tasks and roles are concerned, is going to kind of put a damper on the ability to continue the type of free-flowing relationships in which you had, which is going to have to make you reconsider on what it is that you're actually doing with your time, your energy, your attention, and your love. So when I take a look at the career aspect for my Tauran friends, it feels like you're being torn. It feels like there are two different choices, two different directions, two different paths. And I feel like for many of my Tauran friends, you're almost being kind of drawn back into things that you thought you were done with, for financial reward, which again, it doesn't always have to be about money. Peace is a currency all in itself. And I feel like you really have to get real with your emotions, stay very real in that observer mentality to see how these changes in your day-to-day life are affecting your heart space and affecting your head space. I do feel that there is, again, a certain ending, a certain, something's coming to an end. It doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. Maybe vacation is coming to an end and you have to get back to work, or, maybe you're happy to let a certain job go or a certain friendship go. It doesn't always have to be a bad thing, but there is something coming full circle that I feel has been probably the last year of change and adjustment for you, that it just feels like now you're finally ready to make peace with and ready to let go. But in a career aspect as well, it does feel like there's a transition taking place, leaving something behind in order to jump into something new. And to be honest with you, I don't know that many of you are going to feel good about the changes in which you've already signed up for. It does feel like there's going to be a lot of mental stress. It does feel like there's going to be a lot more tug of war going on internally and in your exterior realm. I don't feel like you are going to be as content with your decisions, with your choices as you thought you would be. Now, in a relationship aspect, and again, just remind you that it starts with a relationship with yourself. I feel like I feel like dynamics are changing, and this isn't a bad thing. I think you've bossed up very, very strongly over the past year, especially since your birthday. But I do think it's time for you to act as judge and jury on the changes that you're about to make and what that actually means for the dynamics of your relationship and how that may change as well. I do think that there is a period of you kind of moving out of what has been the eye of the storm and now starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And that's why I'm a little bit fearful that the changes or the commitments that you've made are going to be too much for you at this particular point, because you finally found yourself in a state of stability, a state of peace, a state of contentment, which I think is now going to be rocked by the new adjustments that you have to make to honor the commitments in which you've made. So to leave you with, some positive energies, I do feel like there's a lot for you to celebrate. I do feel like there is a lot of opportunities for you to up your worth, to up your value, to up your income if need be. But again, please don't push yourself to grow, to improve, especially financially, to take more on, to jump into a job that is going to suck the life out of you or take on roles and responsibilities that are going to weigh very heavily on your heart, especially if it ruins the peace, the stability, the contentment that you've worked so freaking hard to actually accomplish and achieve. So Taurus, I hope that's helpful. I hope you have a beautiful but transformative September, and I'm sending you nothing but love. We'll talk to you soon.